Hello and a warm welcome to the most imperfect tattoo video that you've probably ever seen. It's quarantine day, I don't even know. I don't know the day either, so bear with me. We're doing this in English today because like 51% of you wanted to see it in English, so there we go, bear with me, it's not my first language. Anyway, if you can't handle the English, then quarantine water. Yeah, obviously it's water. We'll get through this together. I won't go into details about the first two tattoos that I ever got. One of them was like just a little symbol on my wrist that's covered by now, and the other was a feather with like some script underneath that's covered as well. Yeah. So let's get into the fun stuff. I started out with a pretty big project actually. I found my tattoo artist through a friend. My tattoo artist is Julian Siebert. I will write it down in the description box for you. And besides the fact that he's like the craziest, greatest artist ever, he's such a great person as well. Just he got me through all my sessions, and I'm very my pain threshold is like pretty much non-existent, so it wasn't that much fun for him, probably not as much fun as for me. But he did it anyway, so I was pretty happy about that. And we started out with my big project wish that I had. I had already been tattooing for 2 years myself when I started the project with him, so I was kind of like already aware of the fact that it's better to plan stuff instead of like collecting, if you want the whole like bodysuit look, and that's what I was going for. So we wanted to do a full sleeve, my back, and a full leg sleeve on the other side, so I get the so it kind of looks like not too tattooed from either side. Yeah, that's what we went for in the beginning, and now things changed, obviously. Yeah, but I will show you in just a bit. We can start with my first big tattoo, and that was a pretty fun session. We had planned everything. We started out from the beginning. And the first big tattoo I got was my owl on my upper arm, and it was not fun at all. Like, that placement is supposed to not hurt as much as others, but that wasn't the case in my case. I had a pretty rough day that day. I got some fever, and it was really annoying, and like 3 hours in I started crying, and I continued crying till like hour 5, and we finished after 7 hours that day, and we still hadn't finished the upper arm, and it was just so bad. And he didn't tell me back then, but we were talking about it later on, and like back on that day when he knew we had this whole project going on and we wanted to do all of it, and I was already in tears, like on such a basic placement as this one. After 3 hours, he was like, how the fuck are we gonna get through this? And I was pretty much thinking the same thing, and it got like better from there. But I'm very, very stubborn, and I'm more stubborn than non-pain tolerant, if that makes any sense. I want to get it done, that's all I'm saying. And so we did, and we always had to. And even if I was in tears, then like I didn't care too much, because I'm how do you say this in German? It's Namenwasser gebaut. It means that like whenever something comes up that could probably make me cry, I'm gonna be the first one crying. So yeah. Let's start with the owl. I wanted to get an owl because of Harry Potter. I'm a great Harry Potter fan. And at first I wanted like a Hedwig, so the snow owl, but we ended up doing, I think it's called a barn owl, just because they look prettier, and the snow owls are like I don't know, they look like joke owls with the big eyes and everything. So we did this one. And right after the owl, we started on the leg. So we kept on like switching from leg to arm, because we had so many sessions planned in the first year that we started. I think like this one must be around like 4 years old by now, I think. And the rest, I don't know, just like went on from there. But the first thing to be finished was the sleeve and then the leg sleeve. So I'll just like continue on the whole arm part. There's no real meaning like behind the owl besides the fact that I like Harry Potter and the owl was pretty, so there's not too much meaning behind any of my tattoos actually. But we'll get to that. So next one, got like this bird with the teacup, and I got the teacup because I used to go to school in England for a while and I really enjoy tea, so that's it. Then we got this little it's not a bat actually, it's, damn, I forgot. Let's just call it bat because it's Flughund in German. And I just got this one because I wanted something that's like the right way but upside down. So the head is like not too close to my armpit but a little further down, and that's the only meaning behind it. It fit right in there, so that's why we did it. And this one actually has quite a lot of meaning to it. That's my queen. Also because I went to school in England. I don't know if you can see. It's one of my favorites. People always think it's like about Alice in Wonderland, but it isn't. And a squirrel on top. It's not a rabbit. That's what most people think. Yeah. So that was the first sleeve, and now we can get into the leg. It's so sunny, I love it. Quarantine isn't as bad. Yeah. I got a pretty meaningful tattoo coming up, so bear with me. The next one I got, it was the first session on the leg and my second session with Julian in total, was my foo dog. And I got the foo dog because of my aunt. She passed away a few years ago, and in her entrance she always had like 2 foo dogs. So whenever I got to visit her, then I saw the foo dog first, and that's why I wanted to get it tattooed. It doesn't really fit in with the whole like European animal theme, but I think it's beautiful. It's one of my favorites as well. I'll just show you. Let's do this. Alright, so this is the foo dog. Pretty much, yeah, one of my favorites ever. I think we're gonna move soon because the sun is coming over. And the full leg doesn't have too much meaning to it. Like the hedgehog is just because I think it's very cute. And the 2 mice here don't really have a meaning either. It's just like with the heart locket and the key. I thought that was cute. You can see like the Union Jack in the background here, so that's because of my time in England as well. The flowers on my foot I did myself. And Julian touched it up at some point because I was too gentle on myself. Then I got a portrait of myself on here, if you can see. Give me 1 second, we're moving. Ooh. So that has no meaning to it either. I just wanted a portrait, and I thought, well, why not get my own face, because then first of all it's pretty funny. When I turn older, then I can still look at myself when I was like, I don't know, 19 or something, 20 maybe, which was pretty cool. And also if I got someone else tattooed and then I meet that girl one day and I don't like her, then that sucks. But if I have my own face tattooed, then I kind of have to stick with myself for the rest of my life. So yeah. Skull, because everyone needs a skull. Then like in the back here we got a little spider, not because I'm like that much into spiders, but just because we had that spot left and we didn't know what to do with it, so there goes the spider. And then there's like a sheep skull on the back of my leg. with the initials of my parents. We didn't know what to put in there, so I thought, well, my parents are probably gonna stick with me for the rest of my life, so let's do that. Yeah, and I think that's the leg done. And after the leg we did my back piece, and with the back piece there was a fun story to it. At first I wanted to get a unicorn, like a really dark, evil unicorn with like white eyes and snowflakes around it and everything. And then the whole unicorn hype came up. And then I decided, well, let's not do the unicorn, because that's like the most basic thing ever right now. And then I decided I wanted the rooster, and there's no real meaning to that one either. I was just at the studio while we were tattooing on the leg, and I saw a little business card from a printing company, and they had a rooster as, it wasn't even a logo, it was just like a little drawing, and it looked really cute. And what I really liked about it was just like a fine line drawing, but it had such dynamic to it, and I really loved the idea of like having something that's so basic, but with like all the feathers and everything, has a nice flow to it. And so at first I didn't tell Julian because he had already drawn up the unicorn, and I felt so bad about that. So I stuck with the idea, and then decided to like research it online, and I didn't find anything that was like remotely close to what I wanted to go for. There's a lot of rooster tattoos out there, but more like colored versions and more in like Asian styles or something. So I thought that's the one thing I want, because no one's gonna ever want a rooster on their back like the one I got. So obviously the true meaning behind it is that I like big black cock, but that's a whole nother story. And I think I'll just show you the rooster then. Let's see how this goes, if that makes any sense. Alright. Yeah, it goes. So that's the full rooster. I hope you can see. At first I didn't want to go up the neck, but then I ended up doing that anyway a little later on, because we didn't have like a proper, like a nice finish to like this line in the back, so we added the back of my neck later. And yeah, so that was the next step. Yeah, I think, one thing we did before that was my swan on the side. So that one came first, and that was one of the many reasons that we ended up doing my stomach as well at some point, because, sorry, it's kind of cold in the shade. We had already talked about the back, but then I said, well, we could finish off the leg with, like something that goes up my ribs a little bit. And then I came up with the swan because I had seen it on someone else, like on Instagram, and I thought, well, a swan for that placement would be quite nice. So Julian drew this one up, and I love the way it flows. I think for most people who are into tattoos, they love it the most because it flows so perfectly with my body. So when the swan was done, I was already like kind of like on the rib side, and I had this little feather tattooed like just down here, and I always wanted that covered anyway. So I thought, well, now that we've already done like this massive swan, we can like go onto the stomach as well. And that's when we started with like the lower stomach piece here. Yeah. And at first I was just like happy with just like the lower stomach part, but then we had like this part of like once the back was finished, we had like this part left, and I was like, okay, there's like this tiny little gap and this gap, so let's just fill that up anyway. Again, there's no meaning behind it. Very disappointing video, I know. I just thought the lantern was really nice because at first I had thought like I wanted a chest piece with a lunar moth. So with the lantern and the moth it would be quite nice, but now I'm not quite sure if I want to get my chest tattooed anytime soon. So we're not sure about that one yet. But anyway, we got the do you say scarab? I don't know, that bug anyway, and the lantern, and then we're not sure about what to do with this part because I don't really want my boobs tattooed. They're so small anyway, and if I cover them up with tattoos it's not gonna look like I have any like boobage going on. So we'll see what we'll do to that. Yeah, and the snake, obviously I just like the snake. There was something else planned with it in the beginning, but we ended up not doing that, and I was very sorry for pissing Julian off because he had drawn something else, and then I came up with my own drawing, and that was, don't do that, just don't do that to any tattoo artist because it sucks. Yeah, and then I was pretty content with like all of the stuff I already had. So we had the back, we had the stomach, we had the leg sleeve, and then I realized, okay, this all looks pretty cool. I'm such a perfectionist, and because the snake went down like this little bit onto my thigh as well, I thought, well, it's gonna look pretty cool if I have something that like just goes down a little bit on this side as well, so it's like even out. And so that's when we did like this little, give me 1 second. So that's when we ended up doing like this part of my arm with the, do you say epaulettes? I don't know what it's called in English, but this little like military bit. And I really loved that for like quite a while, and I was so happy with it. But then like in the beginning of this year, I don't know, I woke up one day and I decided, okay, let's cover the rest because why not? I had like a scratch on my other like empty leg. How do you say, like when the skin turns blue? I don't know the word right now. You know what I mean. And so I had the spot there, and I thought if the leg is tattooed then I wouldn't be able to see, so let's tattoo the rest. And that's how we came up with like the circus themed sleeve. There's no meaning behind it either, just like I've always wanted like a circus horse because I like the look of it. And then obviously we had this like little circus military theme started up here, so that's what we went for. And I love it, I absolutely love it. I think the monkey is also one of my new favorite tattoos because it's so cute. And obviously we got like the doves, like the magic doves that come out of the hat, and so that's like the new sleeve. And before the whole like pandemic crisis and everything, we had already planned that we're gonna start my empty leg in London at the tattoo convention, and now I'm not sure if those appointments actually gonna hold up against the crisis, and we'll see. But I will get the other leg tattooed as well. There's gonna be like a massive peacock on there, and a Wolpertinger. It's a Bavarian thing. It's like a mix of like different forest animals. So that's one thing we're gonna do on there, like a snake skeleton, and yeah, I think that's like pretty much it. It's gonna be so cool. I'm like really up for it. Not for the paint, but just for like getting it all finished and getting it all pulled together so it looks even again. One thing I forgot, because people always ask what's the most painful spot. I feel like the most painful spot is like right under the butt cheeks. It hurts so bad. I don't want to go through it again, but I will have to on the second leg, so that really sucks. And also the back was really bad. For me the ribs were okay in comparison to the rest, but that's like one thing. Then also one question everyone keeps on asking is like how much did the tattoos cost. And first of all, I did pay for my tattoos. How do I say this? I just don't want to be like the person with the price tag on their arm, if that makes any sense. I mean, obviously tattoos aren't cheap. Obviously it's going to be like a few thousand euros. But I don't even know the exact number, and I'm not going to tell anyone just because I don't want to be the girl that paid like amount X for her tattoos. I want to be the girl with, oh, look at this great bodysuit, I saw this and I really liked it. So I really hope you get the point that I'm trying to bring across. Yeah, I think we covered everything pretty much. If you'd like, I could go into detail on a few things, but as you could tell, there's not a lot of meaning behind my tattoos, so there's not too much to talk about. I always had a good time healing, so that was never a problem. We never really touched something up, besides the lower stomach tattoo, because that healed a little more difficult than the rest. Also, one question everyone keeps on asking, if I'm tattooing my hands or my neck, and that's not the plan yet. First of all, I don't really know what I would get on these placements because it's such an important thing and I don't feel like I'm ready for it. I quite enjoy it that I'm like all undercover in winter and no one can tell that I'm really tattooed, and in summer I can decide if I want to show my tattoos off or not, but because people keep on like chatting you up because of your tattoos or stuff, sometimes I'm in the mood for it and sometimes I'm not, and if I'm not, then I just want to be able to cover it all up and like be like by myself and not have to talk about tattoos. And also obviously because I have that many tattoos, people keep on like seeing you as the tattooed girl, and sometimes it's just quite nice to not be the tattooed girl but be Lisa. Yeah, so I think that's one thing I gotta keep in mind before I would ever consider tattooing my hands or neck. And I think that's pretty much it. If you have any questions left or anything I haven't like talked about, anything that you would like to know, then let me know, because quarantine is going on for another 2 weeks and at least in Germany, so I might have some more time, and I'm really sorry for not editing this or making this look nice in any way or putting in any music or close-up shots. I don't know, let's just hope this turned out all right. And maybe it can keep you company for like 23 minutes. Yeah, I wish you a wonderful day and stay, as everyone says, stay healthy. No, but enjoy the sunshine, and I will see you on the next one.